Hello, everyone. So welcome to this session. Before I start, I would like for all of you to imagine yourself on your next flight. This could be for a business trip. It could be for a vacation trip. Hello, everyone. So welcome to this session. And I would like you to imagine yourself sitting in that seat. You're buckling yourself up. The plane starts accelerating. It lifts off, and you look out through the window, and you can actually see the ground fading away more and more. At that moment, you start to think of, I wonder if the pilot on this plane has been properly trained. If he has a pilot license, or if he has been trained on the job, and if that person that trained him has proper training. I can promise you that that landing would not be a fun one. So there is a reason why pilots are trained, need to have pilot certificates, and there is a reason why pilots need to retrain on a regular basis. There is also a reason why pilots are trained in simulators as a standard. So what about our industry? Why is it different? So my name is Tomislav Rogan, and I will be talking about VR training as a new era for competence development in mining and tunneling. So many of you have probably not heard about Edver, and that we are part of the Sandvik family. At Sandvik, all of us knows that safety is priority number one. That is the same for Edver. We actually, all of the solutions that we develop focus on taking people out of the production and the dangerous areas and to train them in more safe areas. We also want to teach the people that we train in a better way, so they retain much more information so that they can do their work in a safer way. They adapt their skills so they become even better, so they can their psychological safety becomes even more stable then. So you can say, exactly as at Sandvik, safety is part of our DNA. So my plan is to give you guys a little bit of an overview what Edver is, because many of you have probably never heard about Edver, and a bit of quick facts about us. And then I'm planning to talk a little bit about an example of a product that we have developed and how that can become a standard in an industry. And then my focus will go on to look at different Sandvik development projects that we have in the pipe, and how they can create value for different divisions and help our offering become even better. So a little bit about Edver. Edver is actually consists of or comes from two words, education and virtual, and it tells you a little bit about what we do. So Edver is an education technology company focusing on the tunneling and mining industry. We develop and we deliver virtual training and innovative VR and AR training tools, so virtual reality and augmented reality. And our vision is to radically improve operator training for mining and tunneling, and we want to enable virtual training for all underground machinery. So if we look at then some quick facts about Edver, part of, as I mentioned, Edver is part of Sandvik and specifically located under SMR and ground support. We were started 2013, and we stem actually from research done at Chalmers University in Gothenburg. As I mentioned, office in Gothenburg, but we also had offices previously in Australia and in UK. But now, as we are part of the Sandvik family, of course, we're going to utilize all of that, the whole sales network around the world and all of the offices there. So what Edver offers is software development to develop different types of solutions for training. This could be to train internal staff, service technicians, or even clients to use our machines in a better way. And we also develop training courses or training programs, and we have different types of, where we bundle this together into different products that we offer the clients, so they can rent a simulator, for example, or if they want to buy one. And the key strength with Edver is that we connect software development with tunneling and mining expertise, and we create applications that bring value to our clients. So if we look at one of these products, or we can look at several of the Edver's products that we have and then focus in on one of them, and this will give us an idea more in detail what we can actually develop, but also how far you can take one of these simulators or applications and make it even more as a standard in the industry. So at Edver, we focus on the drill and blast cycle today, and over many of our trainings that we have focus on this area. And we have currently training programs within machine scaling, grouting, chemical injection, shotcrete, and also bolting. All of these processes are stages in when you build a tunnel or a mine, and that you need to do them. If we narrow in on the shotcrete area, this was actually the first product that we developed, and it's called the VR shotcrete simulator. And for many of you that maybe never heard about shotcrete, shotcrete is a process where you stand next to a robotic machine, and that with a remote control that operates that machine, you spray concrete on the rock, and you try to reinforce it. So it's for the ground support then. And what we at Edver have done is that we operator, a user, puts on a pair of VR glasses, and he can see the machine in a virtual environment, and he uses that same remote that operates the machine and operates it virtually. So he trains without wasting any concrete, without jeopardizing quality, and of course, safety. The simulator is built up that you have many different scenarios. So you start off really easy, and then you build up the competence. So it becomes harder and harder and harder. And then we, of course, have different machines in the simulator, and you just exchange the remotes that we have. And in that sense, you can actually see, you can train on those machines then and see how the learning is different. But the main thing with the simulators that we develop is to learn the process and not teach how to operate the specific machines. So when you get that driver's license, you can anyways drive any different brand. If it's an Audi, a BMW, a Mercedes, it's the process of actually applying the concrete, similar to flying a plane. We have put more than 50,000 hours into developing this simulator, and it's really advanced. So you can even simulate how the strength development is in the concrete, depending on the temperature or other criteria, and your spraying, of course. So to summarize the benefits with one of these simulators or using VR training is, of course, that you have improved environment and safety. You're taking people out of production and training them in a safe way. You have, of course, better quality because the operators retain more of the information that they need to have to do their work in a better way. And you can have increased productivity and reduced costs. The users or the operators have more time to train and to become better. And with that, they can do a better job, waste less concrete. So I want to give some examples of how a simulator like this, or any application more or less, so it's valid for all of you guys listening in, that for your division, maybe there are application areas where you can benefit of having a simulator or some type of VR application. And if you make it good enough, this can become an industry standard. And this is what has become of the shotcrete simulator that we actually originally developed. So in Sweden, there is a national certification that is valid for all tunneling work being done in the country. And it is offered by the Swedish Rock Engineering Association, Svenska Bergteknikföreningen in Swedish. And Edver is accredited to do that training. So all operators that work with shotcrete in Sweden, for example, Bypass Stockholm or the Westlink project, they need to come to Edver to get trained and to finally get that certification. There's also a global standard called FNARC, and this certificate is becoming more and more utilized and adopted in different countries. For example, in the UK, this certificate is mandatory. So for people working in HS2 or London Underground, they need to have this certification, FNARC certificate. So you can see some happy guys that have gone through the training. Of course, it's always interesting to look at some statistics. So for the shotcrete simulator and this type of training, we have had more than 1,000 course participants. We've done the training in more than 20 countries. And an interesting number is that we have sprayed more than 50,000 cubic meters of concrete in VR. But okay, what does it actually mean? 50,000 cubic meters means 8,000 concrete trucks delivering concrete to a site. So you can imagine all the work needed, and also the material cost is huge. Okay, so let's look at different types of Sandvik projects that we have currently under development and that currently are in progress to become utilized as standard training tools. So if we look at the first one, and as I mentioned, we are part of ground support, and this is one example of a product that we have developed. It's called the chemical injection simulator. And it offers training to operators that conduct injection work. So the process on the picture that you can see here is that you have two components, one A and one B component, and you have a pump in the middle. With this pump, you pump the materials through the hoses and then you inject it into the rock. And this can be done to do water sealing, to do ground support or ground consolidation, and then void filling in soft rock dam. And the operator in this case is very hands-on. He connects the different pipes, he turns on the pump, and he needs to make sure that he's doing it in a proper way. Another example that we have is a project that we have done together with Rock Tools, and it's called the DTH Drill Down VR. So it's a development where you assemble and disassemble a RH560 rock hammer or drill hammer. It is a training program that it's the same way as the previous one, very hands-on. You dismantle the unit, you connect the different parts, and you do it step by step to understand the process. It's, if you compare it to reading an instructions manual or even looking at the video, this is the best way to learn. You experience it and you remember how to do it. And if you don't, you just redo it again. Then we have a project that is currently ongoing, and this is a project that we have together with Parts and Services, and it's a simulator where we have developed, similar to the previous one, an assembly and disassembly unit. So you more or less, this is a very complex unit that has more than 60 parts, and you need to use more than 20 tools to actually dismantle it. So it's a lot of interactions, and some of these parts are really heavy, so you need to have other tools to support, like lifts. This is a training program that is intended for internal service staff around the world, but it's also intended to be used as marketing and for sales purposes. So all of the solutions that we develop can be utilized in different ways. Even for recruitment, you can test multiple people to make sure that the one that you're going to employ, he's the one that's, or she is the one that's going to learn the quickest. Then we have another project, which is what we call the roadheader VR. This is an ongoing project as the previous one. And the first version of this application, we developed a simulator where you can actually walk around the roadheader MT720, and you can activate some of the parts to see them rotate and to see how they function. You can also get a safety introduction, and it is also possible to operate this specific application with only a PC. So if you want to demo the machine in some way, you can actually do that fairly easy. This one, the same way, it's intended for training, marketing, and for sales purposes. Future projects that we can add on to these is that we could cut into rock, and that could also create opportunities to visualize how you need to work with the machine with different rock types. So if the rock is stronger, then you need to have a different pick assembly on the unit. If the rock is softer, then you can push through it more. So there's a lot of things that you can actually learn through this type of program. So I have prepared a small video to show how these simulators work. Of course, it would be much better if you guys could try it on for real, because the experience of having the VR glasses on and being in that virtual environment is something else. And if you happen to be in Gothenburg, you're happy to come by our office and to really try the simulators. But for now, I will show you a video, and hopefully that will give you at least a little bit of an indication. So let's start this one here. And we start with the chemical injection one. Here you can see the actual process in real life, and you see how the operators need to work in that one. And if we now put on the glasses and have these two remotes, then we go into it. And here we can really see that the operators or the users need to, I will restart it here, trying to change the sound here at the same time. Okay, so here you can see how the users go into the simulator and they actually grab the different parts of it, the hoses. They have two remotes that are their hands. They can turn the different knobs, and as you can see, it's very interactive. And we have different types of environment, and so this one is the second one I talked about, the DTH drill down VR. So in this one, if we try to take away the music a little bit here and focus on the sound and all of the different interactions. So you can hear when you finish something, then you get the sound that, okay, now you're done. You also get text instructions, what you need to do. You also get visual cues that tell you what you need to grab and where you need to put it. So it's very detailed instructions. So you can compare this towards reading a user manual. It's actually built up that we have very detailed instructions in the beginning of the scenarios, or the first scenarios. And then we have other scenarios where you have only a checklist. And then we have scenarios where you have no instructions at all. So if you haven't really learned how to use it, then you have to go back, you have to reuse it or retrain to be able to pass the criteria. We also have another one for rock drill, the one that I mentioned before. And here we have other interactions where you need to, for example, lift the unit. So we try to make it as close to reality as possible. And you can even see the environments that we create. They have a lot of other parts in it to make them more living and feel real. Here we can see Petter working with the unit, and he's grabbing the different parts, took out one of the shafts here. And also we have added tools. So with these tools, you can actually interact with the objects. There is collision, you can drop things, you need to pick them up, you can lose things, you can disconnect things in the wrong way. So really, really lifelike. And of course, better in VR. So if we look at the roadheader simulator or application, here you can walk around the machine in 3D. You can look at the different parts, you can go closer, you can even start the different movements on the machine, and you can get more information on how to use it. Really interactive, and you can see this type of solutions can be used for many different things. There are endless of opportunities. Just imagine yourself that you can use this for example, maintenance, for assembly, for learning about new products. You can also create, for example, virtual classrooms where you have a expert service technician showing how the different objects work and where you normally have failures. And you can have people connect to that virtual classroom for all over the world with their VR glasses and to learn about that. So what we at Edver believe is that VR training is not the future. It is actually now, and it is the way forward. For a lot of applications, there is a lot of value. We at Edver, we support all of Sandvik to develop new VR applications that create benefit and that create value. So if you have an application where you think that this could benefit, we're happy to support. And of course, Sandvik is pushing the technical innovations in the industry, and it's in the forefront in our industry. And we believe that let's do the same for training. Let's raise the standards as a leader. And we want to help the family grow. So I will have a collaboration session here at 12:20, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So please join that, and hopefully we'll see you in Gothenburg if you have the chance to come by. If not, see you in the collaboration session. Thanks everyone for listening in. See you soon again. Bye-bye.